Aye, there ain't no time like the present. Gold grilly just to match the gold Nellies.
Welcome to Unsigned Hype episode 12. On this episode, I have the pleasure to talk to the incredible artist Malik Elijah from Taunton, Massachusetts. Prior to our interview, I asked Malik which song he would play for someone that wasn't familiar with his music yet. Malik chose his song Lighter Flick, and if you're not familiar with Malik Elijah's music yet, here's a snippet of that song before we jump into the interview.
Control the vibe that'll stop me. Life passing me by every second. Mine, truly my only weapon. Spies in the bushes wanna see me breakfast.
This is Unsigned Hype. The song you just heard is called Lighter Flick by Malik Elijah, who's joining us from Taunton today. It's an absolute pleasure to welcome you to the show. Malik, why is Lighter Flick the song you would play for someone that has never heard your music before?
Well, first off, it's probably it is one of my newest ventures of how I'm exploring my music right now. This is the first time I've released something recording in that type of style. And plus it's overall just a fun song. I enjoyed making it when I made it, and I wanted people to feel that happiness that I had as I recorded it. Plus it just reflects just another stamp upon who I am. I'm a big advocate for the cannabis community, and I love making songs for people who are part of the cannabis community. So that's just sharing something of myself, but also a record that even if people that don't smoke weed, they could still have fun listening to that record. So it was just something that me and my team came together, and we were just this is catchy. People can catch on to it easily, and yeah, it's just fun. So yeah.
Would you say that it's, in your own words, would you say it's sonically very different from the stuff that you usually did? And if yes, how so?
I would say that it's different, but it still is me. At the end of the day, the only way that I can make music is being myself. So I don't really look at it that way. I will say it's differently sonically because me and my engineer, Kurt, we're trying to get to a certain type of quality and expanding from where we had first started when he had mixed my record Don't Play to now, I feel is leaps and bounds, at least sonically. So we're really trying to push just not really say do something different, but just expand from where we started to building it better off more. And plus since I chose different production than I feel I usually would, then that's also an expansion on the sound as well.
You mentioned it yourself. Lighter Flick is your newest release. It came out a few weeks ago. It's currently October 2023, and you've recently released it. I'd like to take the opportunity to go back in time a little bit to 2017, where you released your, I think for you, the first project that made you take rap seriously was Critters by the Window.
Damn.
And there's a song on there called King of the Critters. When that song starts, you kind of talk over the beat and you say, I just want to know why am I so overlooked and people are not really fucking with me and they're always fucking with everyone else. With that statement in mind, I'd like to hear from you 6 years, 7 years later. How do you feel about that today? Where do you feel you stand today?
For me, obviously, I'm still a low level artist, so I do still feel overlooked, but that's just how it is. I will say I'm in a way better position than I was 6 years ago. I'm not doing the same things that I was in 2017 that I'm doing now. Even when I listen back, listening back to Critters by the Window, I haven't played it in a while. I should check it out just to see how far I've came though. Thank you for reminding me for that. I haven't thought about that project in forever, but I will say obviously people are overlooking me because in my personal opinion, looking back, I wasn't making music that people could really listen to, and the quality wasn't there yet, and just certain little things that I still had to develop to really get there. Now I can confidently say that I know I do make a higher quality sound of music. I feel I make music that can that people can shed light on if they like to, and people could live with the music that I'm making. Obviously, I'm not anywhere where I would like to be, but I'm definitely not where I was when I made Critters by the Window.
But how do you measure that? Especially the thing that you said I thought was really interesting, the quality. How do you measure the change in quality? How do you know today that the music is quality-wise so much better than it was back then?
I feel I don't know, me as a person, I am a student of like how, because I also have an audio engineering degree. I'm also just a student of just rap music in general. Like I study all different sounds, study like mixes, and I'm very comparable. Like I like to, not in the sense of compare my music to somebody else's, but I do compare my sound, like quality sound compared to like mainstream artists. And to hear how my mixes were when I first started, and to hear the mixes now, and to like just go through like Spotify or Apple Music and like play my song compared to somebody else's and feel that it's at least close enough, then that's how I see that my quality has improved.
Something I want to stick with for just for one more second is this idea of being overlooked. Can you describe how that feeling was given to you? Like, what did people do to give you that, just by not reacting to the music that you posted, or?
Yeah, not reacting to music I posted, feeling excluded from certain things at times when like I knew, feeling excluded. Oh man, how can I say this? Feeling excluded at times when like people knew that I was also doing the same thing. And obviously, like looking back at it, I truly don't have any hard feelings against anybody, because like at the end of the day, like within the music community, everybody's trying to make it in music. And I feel like I didn't understand that at that time. And I also just didn't have the understanding of like when it's your time to do something, it's your time to do something. But yeah, I haven't really even thought about that in a while. Damn.
It is now your time?
Dang, that's a really good question. That's a really good question. I don't really even know. I think, honestly, I feel like sometimes, even now, like sometimes I have to feel like I have to underrate myself to push myself higher. I think it's like kind of like a hyping thing in my head. It's just like, yo, like always feeling like the underdog to push myself to reach something higher. I think it's honestly, now that I think about it, going back, damn, I feel like I'm in therapy right now. Going back to it, like my mindset, it was just like humbling myself and like downgrading myself to like fully upgrade. Because even now, like I'll do a show, right? And people will say I killed it or whatever. Like I'll get a great reaction from a crowd. And then as soon as I walk into the green room, I'm already critiquing how like I should have did something better.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's actually really interesting. You mentioned that it like maybe this is a form of like self-protection, because by always thinking of yourself as the underdog, you might never be disappointed by what's not coming, right? I don't know. At least that's my quick interpretation of what you just mentioned.
No, thank you for asking that. Like I've never really reflected back on that time of like why I even said that. Dang, I got to do some soul searching.
That's cool, man. If that does something, if that creates some thinking, that's always good, you know. But yeah, I mean, I have to say, like, you are an artist that cherishes every single step and every new achievement, every new follower, every new stream. I really think that that's so great, because you can really see the growth that you've been through over the last years. This whole journey, basically, you know, performing shows in the US and releasing really all this incredible music, that wouldn't have been if you hadn't picked up a pen, I think at like a year 12 years old, so fairly young, where you started writing your first lyrics. Can you take me back to that day and what made you decide to pick up that pen and write songs?
I honestly, like, I only wrote that one rap when I was 12. I didn't really start getting into rapping until after I was like done like playing football when I was like 15. But for my first rap ever when I was 12, I don't even know what I was doing. Like I feel like I was like, just like a super creative kid. Like I did like tap dancing, I did African drumming, like I was in the choir, I did a whole bunch of stuff like that, played drums, all different instruments. So like when I wrote my first rap, I don't even really know what like compelled me to do it. I just more so just like sat down in my parents' dining room, and I was at the top of the table. I had this composition notebook opened, and I just started writing a rap. It was really just didn't really think too much about it. I wrote it, put the book away, and just went from there. And then I came back a few years later and looked at that book again and just started writing more into it. And was writing more raps. It just kind of felt like natural. There really was no, I want to be a rapper. It was just like, I just want to write something. And I started writing. I think I was even writing like poems and stuff from what I remember, but it's kind of fuzzy in that area.
And then at some point you decide to build your own setup of speakers and the phone, and then you freestyle over Mos Def's Mathematics. That's where do you take that from there? So I mean that's a pretty serious step, because you're recording your first track basically to upload it on SoundCloud. I think you've shared it.
Yep. Yeah, there was like, when SoundCloud like kind of like first came out, there was a voice memo recording on the app. And that's before I didn't have a microphone, didn't have an interface, no nothing. I was sitting in my, like the little office area that my parents had, and I would take the phone, put 2 desktop speakers, and now thinking about it, like the phone is like mono anyway, so it's not going to be stereo, but like I would take both of the speakers and put them on both sides, and then like I would practice my verse over and over again off the Mathematic beats, because like obviously I couldn't stop and then stop and record. Like I had to record the full record. And I was doing that for a few songs that I had before, like, my dad noticed that I was recording, and then, like, for, like, my birthday or whatever, like, he gifted me, like, a super small setup. But, yeah, like, I was just, like, every day I was just in the office pressing record on the SoundCloud memo and just, like, recording a verse, and then I would go to school, show everybody the song, like, anybody that wanted to listen, or like, yo, check out this song that I made, or da-da-da, all that stuff, so.
How was the feedback back then? Like, what do people tell you when you show them these songs?
Some people said it was trash. Some people liked it. It didn't really matter to me. Like, I was just going. So, and then there was like actually people that like liked it, because when I was in high school, like there was this thing at the school that I was going to at the time, at the senior circle. Like me and my homie Kamal, we was in the senior circle just like making like these funny, silly cypher raps, to the point where like we were having like a good crowd like around us like every lunch period. Like people was like looking forward to it. And then I noticed that people was actually liking what I was saying, like just probably like the most like simplest shit that was coming off the top of my head at that time. It got so popular to the point like during our lunchtime that our teachers and the dean of students literally put papers across like the whole school saying like no more ciphers. And like, so that's kind of like how, like when I really started getting into it and like seeing people's reactions, and also just hearing my voice rapping on like the SoundCloud memos, like I just really liked it. And like, I just wanted to get better. Like, it wasn't even like, oh, I need to get better. Like, I was just like, I really like doing this. It's like this. I was like, it wasn't like, oh, I want to be a rapper. It was just like, I like doing this for a while. Like, it was just a hobby. Like, I was just doing it over and over and over and over again. Like, that was the only thing that like really consumed me, honestly, to this day, truthfully.
Yeah, but what I found so interesting is you just mentioned that your other passion was playing football at the time, and from what I know, it was actually pretty serious. Like, you could have considered building a career as an athlete. When you're so young and you have these different passions, how do you choose one thing over the other?
Well, when I first felt my first real injury in football, that's when I was like, yeah, I'm good. Like, I got blindsided when a play was over. Like, the whistle was blown and everything, and I fell on my lower back, and it pretty much, I was just like, yo, this is painful. I was like, this is what people have to endure, like, as they go. Because, like, I didn't even want to go to the NFL. I just wanted to play D1 football. That was, like, really my goal for a while. But then, like, there was just certain instances that happened, like, in my family life. I was starting to get invited to football camps. I was getting invited to do certain things. Like, my parents just didn't want to allow me to go. So that kind of like, I feel like that somewhat deterred me a little bit to like try to advance to the next level in football. And then when I started like discovering more about rap music and finding the music that I love, like that was something that is just like, didn't really take a lot of money to do. I could just find a beat off YouTube and progress in that. And it just went from there. But just like finding passions, like I was always an adventurous kid though. Like I played chess tournaments all throughout middle school. Like I said, like I tap danced, I did African drumming. I even wanted to skateboard. Honestly, I wish like I was more into skateboarding than football. I feel like I wish I put more time into that like when I was younger. And I still love skateboard culture, but like it was just like trying things out and and seeing how good I can get, and is this something that I see myself doing for the rest of my life? I feel.
But eventually you did go with the career in rap, and you're fully living it. Was that risky for you? But let's maybe start with another question. When was the moment when you knew that rap was going to be a career for you?
I would say probably like my sophomore year of college, when I changed my name to Malik Elijah. That's when I knew it was serious, because I was going to school for audio engineering and I wanted to be a mix engineer. And that's like kind of like where I was going to go into my field. And then I was starting to figure out that I didn't enjoy mixing as much as I thought I was going to, and like recording other people. Like I was just found myself like trying to do a show at my school, or finding that more and more people was liking my music, and I just fell into like deciding, hey, I want to be an artist. And I don't know, and I'm not gonna lie, I like the aspect of being the star. I like the aspect of stepping on a stage and people knowing the words to your music, and people performing for people, and people reciting your words back to you. I just found more of a passion and more of a drive and more of an interest in that than I ever did like doing audio engineering. Obviously, I still utilize those skills whenever need be, but yeah, that's when I really started diving in, and it's just like, I want to be an artist. And I knew, but I also made the conscious decision knowing that how long it actually takes. I've been doing this since 2017. I just got to the point where I'm doing consistent shows maybe about a year and a half ago. That took me to that point where it's like, okay, I'm only getting 5 plays on SoundCloud. And now it's like, oh, I'm getting this amount of millions of streams 4 years later. So I knew it was going to take time. Now I'm at a point where it's like, oh, it's finally happening. But now it's like, oh, I have to look at everything and be like, okay, how do I want to separate myself? How do I want to show who I am? So like, I'm now in the process of, oh, I'm actually an artist now. What can I do to get to the next level type of vibe? So,
what's interesting is always this, like, I feel like a lot of people that have such a strong passion for something, they also decide to just go all in with the music and not really pursue other kinds of passions or careers or go to university. Did you, because you mentioned your sophomore year and you mentioned university, was that to get an extra sense of security in case something was not going to work out with regards to your rap career?
No, not really. I utilize education in a different way. I utilize my education for myself and to have information for myself. Like even certain jobs that I've worked, like I've worked multiple different concert jobs. I've done stagehanding. I've done audio visual. I've sold merch just so I could learn the ins and outs of how that is as when I'm an artist and the people that I picked to be on my team. I learned audio engineering, so now I can go into any studio and be able to actually share my ideas to my engineer and be like, this is how I want my audio to sound. And I know how I want my audio to sound because I know how to explain that in a way that an engineer is going to understand. And even just with like right now, I delivery drive for a day job, and I utilize all the areas that I've delivery driven in. Like some of my music videos that I put out, the reason I knew those areas to shoot at is because of delivery driving. So I kind of utilize everything as something to understand, like knowing layouts of the land and everything like that. Like even now, I book my own shows. I am taking that experience of how I know how to book my own shows. So when I do have a booking agent, I know who's going to bullshit me and who's actually knows what they're doing. So I just take everything with I don't even know if that's the right term. I just take everything that I learn and utilize that to apply to myself because I know that will help advance me in the long run.
And I think it's awesome that you mentioned, the fact that you take care of your own, the booking of your own shows. Just real quick for people that, might be listening to this podcast who are striving to build a career in music. Is there any particular advice that you have when it comes to performing at venues and organizing that? Is there any key things to move by when you want to perform live as an independent artist?
My thing is, everybody's journey is different. Like, even for instance, Tizo Touchdown skipped a lot of steps and he's doing arenas. You know what I'm saying? But for anybody that's like at somewhere in my level and see where I did, I just got to doing stages. I was doing DIY venues. I was on the same ground level as everybody else that was watching me perform. I found different areas to perform at, regardless if it was a stage or not. I started off DIY. There was no engineer. We was mixing the vocals ourselves. There was no producer to tell us, oh, go on stage. I just got to that point a year from later. The thing is, if you want to perform, go to an open mic. Try to find people that you get that are putting on shows. Because usually if you're at an open mic, you're going to find people that put on shows. Do those shows as much as you can. Obviously, don't exhaust yourself. But use that to get to use that for repetition and practice. Like, you're going to perform in front of 5 people before you perform in front of 500. You know what I'm saying? That's just how it goes. Unless you're one of the people that skip steps.
Yeah. How was it for you, the first performances? Because I saw a lot of your performances, at least in video form, and you have such a natural stage presence. Was that always like that?
I feel like it because I came up in the church, so like I was already used to like performing on stages, but obviously I was performing in groups. But now it's like performing by myself. What people don't know is I'm also in this room that I'm sitting in right now, just performing in front of a wall, days in and days out, before I even got to the point that I was performing in front of people, even before like an open mic. So like I also, on top of rehearsing, I study concerts. I don't really watch a lot of TV. I watch concerts. I go to concerts all the time. Like, it's to the point where concerts are consuming my life. I was just at a concert like a few days ago. I truthfully study all the time. I've studied everybody from J. Cole to Billie Eilish, Red Hot Chili Peppers. Anybody that performs and I feel like performs well, I study and I watch how they do that.
Can you name a couple of specific elements that you observe in these performances? What do you look for?
I observe how much an artist talks while they're performing. I observe transitioning. I observe how much they move and when they don't move. I observe their call and responses. I observe lighting, stage setup. Observe like if any artist like does an interlude. Like, I've really found this like very interesting. Me and my girl saw Tame Impala perform, and he had this stage interlude where like it dropped, like this lighting fixture dropped down and it made like this super loud kind of obnoxious noise, but it was really cool too though. Like, it looked like an alien spaceship like just shooting out, and it was like for like maybe like 2 minutes, 3 minutes, but like in my head, I'm thinking like, maybe he's going to like take a break. Like, he might be changing his clothes because he's sweaty or something. He might be taking a drink so he can come back and perform for like the next like 45 to 50 minutes. So like, I always look at that, like what artists are doing to like not tire themselves out, like while they're performing. Because truthfully, if you're a solo performer and you're not like with a band, you're usually just standing there and you're doing it. But like when you're like me, I have to be able to cover ground of like a whole stage. And make sure that I'm showing love to the left side. Make sure I'm showing love to the right side. Making sure I'm pointing out to the people at the top of this top that like people usually don't notice, or people that are dead in the middle. Like, I want to make sure that I'm giving attention to everybody. So those are the aspects that I study. Like when I watch shows.
What's something that you've quickly learned not to do anymore with the more you performed? Are there like any clear things where you were like, okay, I need to change that? Like, what's something to look out for when you start performing?
Not talk a lot. That's the one thing. Like, as my performances progress, just with my performance style, I'm not talking a lot anymore. I might shout out the city. And if I do any like monologue talking, like I wait towards the end, like towards like my second to last, just to like thank the crowd for like showing love, letting them know what my name is. Obviously, I do an introduction of my name in the beginning as well. But yeah, I don't really talk too much. I just let the music speak for yourself. Because and shout out to my girlfriend. She's the one that gives me the most, like, she is the person that when she sees my shows, she lets me know like what it is. Like, she's like, you talk too much right there. You should have just kept going with the show. Or you should have did this. And, like, she also helps me analyze as well. So it's like, obviously, everybody's show is different. But I know for me, like, I want my music to talk. I'm not that good with, like, making jokes. If I try too hard, it's not going to be funny. And, like, I just try to just show my music because that's what people are there for. And I don't want to lose attention. Especially like now that I am an up and coming artist, so like I have to do everything in my power to keep a crowd's attention for the amount of time that I'm on stage.
Do you have a favorite song to perform? Favorite song of yours?
I would say I love to perform. I'll give you 3. I love to perform Brand New because that usually gets people like super hype. I love to perform Own Lane because people really like the bar aspect from that song.
These niggas swagger jack just to get some clout. Improving my posture, I catch it when I slouch. Smoking on the indica, but I'm not in the couch. I'm out here working, hustling the right route. And Summer Briggs on the Malibu Hills, Santa Monica to Hollywood, we got it all on film. I need a Hollywood star now, I'm a star now, I'm a star child. Check the stars, I'm a far now, I'm the par now. I got a Tiger Woods 1997 swing, bad bitch on my beat the pussy, but ain't. That's a break the frame joy. Let's fill the void right quick. Now I'm less irritated, less annoyed. Like shit. And like shit, I'm the one, not the two, not the 3. And like shit, I'm the one, not the 2, not the 3. Like shit, I'm the one, not the 2, not the 3. Not the 2, not the 3. Not the 2, not the 3. I'll never surrender, the possibilities is endless. Feeling stupendous, know the glow make her feel offended. My life not caught up in no daily superstition. I live with faith, what the fuck would I need superstition? Horsepower on piston, I laugh when I piss them off. These rappers rhymes with shaman song. We in a different category, nigga. Penthouse story, nigga. Ain't no need to worry, man. I'm not here for fast game. It's not for the fast lane.
This was Malik's song Own Lane. And now back to the interview.
And I would probably say my new favorite song, the song that's not out yet, but I'll say the title, is called Tricks. And I like how the crowd likes that song as well, performing that. And then honestly, an honorable mention, I love performing Lighter Flick now too, because Lighter Flick, that's something new. Like I love performing the newer records.
Do you feel like the more you've performed, the more when you're in the studio recording, you think about creating songs that would make a great live take?
Hell yeah. My thing is, I'm not just trying, like, obviously there are people that just want to be in the studio, but for me, I'm making music to go perform. I'm making music that I want to tour with. I'm making music that I want to do a festival with. So I'm constantly chasing that quality of music to perform on a stage, as well as make good music for people to listen to in their ears every day as well. That's how I go about it. I do think about that because you got to think of, honestly, like, performing gives you a greater perspective of how you should make your music, because you're going to think about, yo, am I saying too many words that I'll lose my breath on stage or something like that? Obviously, those are like subconscious things. They're not super like conscious like when I'm making the music, but it definitely does help for a perspective when you are performing.
And I mean, you've performed at pretty legendary venues. I mean, SOBs is one of them. You've recently opened up for Freddie Gibbs. I have 2 questions with regards to that. How do you think in let's say a more established artist, without, you're already a very established artist, no question. But someone like Freddie Gibbs asking you to open up for him, what does that do to your career? Do you feel that in terms of new streams, new people following you, listening, tuning into your music? What impact does that kind of invite have to perform before Freddie Gibbs?
So when you open up for an artist like a Freddie Gibbs, that is when all the practice of the open mics and the DIY shows come into play, because this is your moment where you're in front of more people that you could bring out yourself. I'm pretty sure when I did the Freddie Gibbs shows, anywhere between 500 to 700 people that was there right in front of my face at the time when my set was on. If you perform to the ability that you are, because I knew I was going to perform to the ability that I knew I was, because I prepared for it. So when I'm on that stage, I'm commanding that attention from a crowd. I don't care if it's 5, I don't care if it's 1,000. I'm going to command that energy. Obviously, not everybody's going to like what you're doing, but there's a possibility at least 20% is going to like what you're doing. So you need to take that opportunity to do the best fucking show that you ever can, because that could possibly be the meaning of your newest 50 fans that show interest, your newest 100 fans. When I walked off stage and I wiped the sweat off my face or whatever, and I looked at my phone and I saw Instagram, I had 100 new followers. When I walked, and then obviously, since like I'm not a Freddie Gibbs yet, I'm still allowed to walk around the crowd or whatever without causing a frenzy. So I walked through the crowd. I talked to people that enjoyed my show. People showing me, like, even before I left the stage, a kid literally pointed his Spotify in front of my face and said, "I followed you." You know what I'm saying? Like, walking around the crowd, people like, "Yo, I subscribed to you on YouTube. Yo, I followed you on Instagram." That's amazing. All this stuff. So it's like, doing shows like that is a great opportunity. Obviously, at this level, I'm not always going to be doing those big shows, but when I do, I'm going to make the best of it. I'm going to treat it the same way I did when I was performing in front of 30. It never changes. The energy never changes, but there is a greater opportunity when you're doing something big like that.
And how does that happen, that Freddie Gibbs or an artist like Freddie Gibbs checks out your music and says, "I want Malik to open up for me"?
So I'll say it like this. I didn't talk to Freddie Gibbs' team at all. That's what people think, that the artist is the one that's picking you out. I just don't want to fake the funk like, "Oh yeah, Freddie fucks with me, da 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 da." Because if so, I'd be on the whole tour, I feel. But I just reach out to I just try to find companies. I try to reach out to talent buyers and whatever type of connection that I have or friendships that I've developed with people, to be like, "Hey, is it a possibility if like I could get an email to try to get on this show?" Sometimes they'll say no, sometimes they'll say yes. But the thing is, you should never reach out for something like that unless you have the credibility for it and if you are also prepared for it. Because there is no point for you to step on a stage and not have a set ready. Obviously, you're never going to be ready for any sort of opportunity like that because it's new to you. But you don't want to mess up, or fuck up a opportunity because somebody gave it to you, but you did not handle it the way because you don't understand how to handle it. So a lot of people see that big stage and they're like, "Oh, I need to get on that big stage." But truthfully, do you know what to do when you are on that big stage? Obviously, you're not going to know until you find out, but you need to have some sort of preparedness before you go there. Because at that point, if you fucked up, you lost your credibility, you lost your connection, you lost anything to do it again. And another thing I will say is, make sure when you're doing shows like this, make sure you're on time. Make sure you're communicating. Make sure you're nice to the engineer. Make sure you're nice to the lighting people, because those are the people that's going to make your show sound even better, look even better. If you're not showing professionalism and nice to people at this level, then nobody's going to fuck with you when you're at the top. It's just the truth. If you're an asshole, no one's going to like you. No one's going to want to work with you. So at first, don't try to have some almighty complex. Be grateful for where you're at. And just take the opportunity as it is and be grateful. Because nobody really, even doing that Freddie Gibbs show, they could have just told me to kick rocks. Like, it could have been anybody on that stage, but it just so happened to be me. So I'm going to be grateful, and I'm going to make sure I'm also thanking everybody that's helping with the show.
Did you have any connection with Freddie at all? Like any conversation before or after the show?
The only interaction I had with him was 20 minutes before his set. I walked out into the back, and his manager and DJ were walking to their green room, and I could tell I'm pretty sure he was fried, because like he was behind my DJ, and then he kind of looked like with like this funny smirk, and then he like put his hand out, shook my DJ's hand, and then shook mine. But like overall, like it's not like he didn't acknowledge us. Like he was like, "Oh, I'm Freddie Gibbs, so like I don't gotta say hi to these people." Like he still said hi to us, but like that's the most interaction you're gonna get. Like I don't try to be in the artist's face like that, because truthfully, Freddie Gibbs is trying to get to the next level. You know what I'm saying? He's trying to get to the next level himself. Talking to the artist can only can get you so far. I'm the type of person, I like to talk to the manager. I like to talk to the DJ. I like to talk to the photographer. I like to talk to the people around them because those are the people that you possibly have way more access with. Like, I talk to Freddie Gibbs DJ more than I talk to Freddie Gibbs, which is completely fine. I'm not looking here to be like, oh, I'm open up for Freddie Gibbs, so I'm going to try to be his best friend. That doesn't really matter to me. We're here for a job at the end of, like, we're here to do a job at the end of the day. So I don't try to do too many interactions. Obviously, if Freddie Gibbs came up to me and like wanted to have a conversation with me, I'd talk to him because like this is somebody that I've been listening to since like I think senior year of high school, so it's a blessing to be able to open up for him. But I'm not gonna sit here and bombard him with a conversation that because he has to focus on performing for an hour and a half in front of 900 people, you know. So like I try not to bother too much.
I get it. I think it's the right attitude to have for sure. Yeah, and I mean from what I hear and also saw, at least on the footage, is that you did a good job. The crowd was feeling you. And that I think gives you as an artist, maybe also like, especially performing in front of a bigger crowd, and another boost of confidence to keep going. I know that with the things that we sometimes do, you know, whatever we do when we're creative with something, we might not always have this confidence. And I think that around the time you recorded your song Serve, you were kind of wondering what this was all for and which way this was going to go for you in terms of a career. But then, you know, I know that Kenny Beats tweeted about your song because you dropped the cave in that song, and then it eventually became one of your most streamed tracks. You know, it has millions of streams. As a first question, maybe, what keeps you going in these moments when you're in doubt? Is there a way for you to describe that?
What keeps me going is truthfully just, I love making music. I would do this if I wasn't making any money off of it. I still don't make a lot of money from it. I do it because it's the one thing that just brings me happiness. Being able to step on a stage brings me happiness. Being able to study music and listen to music brings me happiness. It's just something that I've always loved to do, even before I wanted to be an artist. Like, I just have always gravitated towards music. It makes me feel something. It inspires me. It keeps me going at times. And it's just like, I'm always a person that's not stagnant. Obviously, there's going to be times of doubt that I have. And I had a doubt. Like, I had some doubts like 2 days ago, and then I got booked for a show. So it's just like, you know, sometimes that stuff comes with it, but I just keep going regardless. Even like I've kept going even through depressive states. When I made Serve, I was depressed, like so depressed. I was just like, I want to make a fun song because I'm sad. And it just so happened to be that one song that people gravitated towards, and Kenny Beats had posted it, which I'm super thankful for. Hopefully one day I can meet him in person and actually thank him, because like truthfully, that was a turning point when I was like, yo, like, yes, I am supposed to be doing this. This was a confirmation. And then like you'll have like those mini confirmations. When I opened up for Earth Gang, that was another confirmation. When I did SOBs, that was another confirmation. Opening up for Freddie Gibbs, that was another confirmation. Selling out a show with my homie Ken Rose, that was another confirmation. So it's like, obviously those little nuances keep you going, or those little wins, but you have to be able to push through your doubts if you really care about something. Because at the end of the day, you're always going to have doubts. There's always going to be negative thoughts. There's always going to be times shit happening in your life. But if this is something that you actually want, you have to just keep going and go to get it. I'm just a persistent person. I'm very persistent. If I got one no, I know that if I get a no from something, I know I'm going to try to go find a yes for something else. Like it is what it is. You can't let it deter you.
Cried, so that I was leaving. I know she didn't understand. As a man, I have my reasons. There's more than man and mama. Need to see what's out these borders. My life was sheltered growing up. I had to shake the order. convictions as a Christian held me back, but I had to let that go. Risky decisions, see my vision, even though that I know they don't. Pouring words just to heal the soul, pouring faith even when I'm low. Pray for favor, let the blessings roll. I know we all need some more. Overflow for the overload. We put these stories in concrete, time lapse and watch the rose grow. Remember getting bullied back in 04. I am not going back to that. 50 Drake with the back to back. 24-42 back to back. Home run. Coming back home once I know some. More than I learn, yeah, I know none. More than I learn, yeah, I know none. Yeah. Coming back home with a home run. 24-42 feeling like Ken Griffey and Jackie Robinson.
This was Malik's song Worst Enemy. And now back to the interview. And with regards to, because, you know, I've talked to a bunch of artists and some of them, they're still, you know, they haven't had one single song that hit 1 million. Some of them haven't even hit like 5,000. So this million stream thing is kind of like one big milestone for many, I think. I'm wondering, you know, I know that there's a lot of factors that play into getting to those streaming numbers. Like it depends on how long the song has been uploaded, and you know, is there some kind of viral thing that happens with artists posting it on their page and stuff like that? But do you try also to sonically understand why certain songs are much more streamed than others?
I've had those conversations with my team. It's nothing that you really can, like stuff like that, when that happens, there's nothing that you really can plan for or understand. Obviously, you can try to replicate it, but trying to replicate it is like trying to just chase the lottery over and over again, which I'm not for. I'm going to put out the music that feels good to me and that I feel like people will like, and if not, back to the drawing board. Obviously there's a formula, but I'm not the type of person to stick with a formula. I'm just going to make the music that I like. So, you know, when Don't Play hit 1 million, I didn't know Don't Play was going to hit 1 million. I barely even liked the song when I first made it. Like, I didn't know Serve was going to hit 1 million. It just so happened that Kenny Beats had posted it and people actually really fucked with it. Like, just it is what it is. Like, I know for a fact those aren't my last 2 songs that are going to hit 1 mil. But, like, I'm also not concerned about when another song's going to hit 1 million either. It's just like, when I put the records out, are people gravitating towards it? Do people like it? Are people sharing it? Do people enjoy it? And that's enough for me.
Is that success for you? Like how, because you mentioned so many different things, you know, all the little the many milestones that you've achieved over the last years. You've listed a bunch of them. How do you define success for yourself? What is success when it comes to your music?
Honestly, success for me is when I can tour in a random city in Wyoming or some random state in Idaho or a country in Europe that I've never even been to Europe. So if I can go to Europe and say I'm doing a show and a few hundred people show up, I feel like for me that's success to me. 'Cause like I can connect with somebody that I've never met in person, but they know every word to my song. That is what I want. Pretty much. Yeah, that's what I deem as success. It's not a Grammy anymore. I used to think that a Grammy was something that means success. Obviously on a mainstream level it does. But for me, if I can be able to feed myself, feed my family, be comfortable, be able to go to any country that I want on a vacation or for a tour, then for me, that is success.
And do you have your next milestone in mind already? Like, is this something that you think about, the next thing that you want to achieve?
I want to support somebody on their tour. I want to support a bigger artist on their full tour, whether that be a European or tour or a US tour or both. I want to do that wholeheartedly because I know that I'm built for it and I know that I can do it.
Any artist in mind that you would like to support on their tour?
It don't even matter. Whichever artist that shows me love, I'm completely fine with it and completely content. Because you never know when that opportunity is going to come again. It literally could be anybody. It don't matter to me. I'm going to just perform.
Yeah, but you might still have your favorites, right? You might still have like your dreams and aspirations of like, oh, I'd love to.
Oh, yeah. Nah, most definitely. Let's see. If I could tour with anybody, obviously Mick Jenkins. He's one of my favorites ever.
Very dope.
A high dream one would definitely be Kendrick. I would love to be on a Kendrick Lamar tour. I'll do like a few more. Baby Keem would be cool. I would love to tour with Baby Keem. If Buddy ever does like a US tour, I would love to tour with Buddy. That would be cool. And then let's see.
T-Pain.
Yo, if T-Pain hit me up for a tour, I'd be down. That would be lit.
No, I know you got a lot of love for T-Pain. I mean, T-Pain is legendary.
T-Pain is like one of the first like artists I discovered of like hip hop. Like when I saw him and Kanye put A Good Life out in 2008, I was like, yeah, this joint is lit.
Yeah, no, I totally feel you on that one. Hey, one thing that I like to ask artists a lot in these interviews is what other unsigned hypes I should interview next. Other independent artists that you think are still flying way too much under the radar. Maybe you have one or two that you want to talk about.
Well, one that I've kept hearing about and keep seeing and is Soul Child. She just put out a project today, actually, that I'm going to listen to after this interview. And I'll say the homie Wakai. Wakai would be somebody because I was on his album, and it's a really good album, and he's about to go on tour, and I still feel like he's also underrated, but people are catching on to him as well. Ken Rose, that's the homie, and My Name Isn't J-Mac. Yep,
perfect.
Those are the few I would say.
Nice.
And there's obviously more people that I do like, but those are the ones that popped up in my head right at the moment.
All good. Yeah, I'll make sure to add them to the podcast playlist. A couple of songs, people can check them out for sure. If there's something that you wish you would have known about the music industry prior to becoming a part of it, what would that be?
Honestly, I'd probably go back to like when we was talking about Critters by the Window, knowing that everybody has their time, and being patient is the one thing that will help you in your times of doubt. Yeah, that's what I would say.
All right, we're getting into the last couple of questions. Maybe, and we've been talking about this a little bit when we were talking about performing live and stuff like that, but to artists that are really just, who might have never put out a song even, who are really thinking about it and who believe they have the talent to start a career in music, what's some advice that you would give to them?
Don't focus on streams. Don't focus on accolades. Just make the music to make the music. Just have fun with making music and just trying to get better first before you chase anything else. If it's not about the music first, then you'll get lost. And being lost is not fun. Just love making the music.
Yeah, my final question would be, when do you open your amusement park? When's that happening?
Yo, that's great. Yo, oh my God, you really researched. Oh, that's lit. Honestly, man, hopefully by the time I'm 40, that would be great. That's still one of my biggest dreams. I really want to have an amusement park based all around like music and just some really dope roller coasters. I got a lot of dope roller coaster ideas.
Can you describe one?
Yo, there was like, like those roller coasters in Spy Kids, like when they were like the roller coaster like stops, like the roller coaster like stops and then it hops onto another one. Like I want to do something like that, but in like a safe way. Maybe like, I don't know, like if it rises up and then it's like grabbed by like robotic hands and then it drops back down into another drop. Like that would be lit. I feel like by the time I'm 40, the future would be able to do that in the most safest way.
I hope so.
I also feel like, yeah, bro. I also feel like there should be like some sort of like protection on the bottom of a roller coaster. Like if it fails, like I feel like we need that. Yep.
Agreed. Mm-hmm. No, but actually, this wasn't my final question. The final question I like to ask artists, and you've already touched upon this a little bit, but with all these ups and downs that we've talked about, and all the things that you went through. Also, I mean, obviously lots of milestones and lots of positive things and building a career and getting better and bigger every day. What do you do this all for?
I do this for myself, man. And not just even myself now. There's so many people that believe in me to the point where it's becoming bigger than me, that I want to make sure that their efforts of supporting me don't go to waste. My efforts of pushing in this music don't go to waste. And yeah, that's really what moves me and what motivates me. Yeah.
Thank you, man. I really appreciate you taking the time. Really appreciate this conversation. Yeah, thank you so much.
Nah, thank you for having me, man. This was a really great interview. You made me think about a lot of things that I haven't really thought about, so I appreciate it.
Clouds, real loud, right now, no Reggie over here. It's that bling blow, let that ring sound, chicka chicka mean sound.
This was Unsigned Hype episode 12 with Malik Elijah. The track you're hearing right now is Malik's song Fried. You will find the song in the Unsigned Hype podcast playlist, along with all other songs discussed in this episode. Make sure to support Malik by checking out his music and following him on social media. And for your weekly Unsigned Hype, make sure to also follow us on Spotify and Instagram. All the links are in the show notes below.